Hello, this is my all-time St. Louis Cardinals from around 86 to 2025, or you could say the beginning of 2026 season. The first three teams that I covered were the New York Mets. I'm a diehard Mets fan. After that, I picked the Braves and the Pirates, and the reason for that is because there were the following teams after 86, 87, 88, and starting in the 90s, that they became the most relevant team after the Mets and the Dodgers and other teams. And including the St. Louis Cardinals, since the St. Louis Cardinals in 85-86 were the top team against the Mets, or vice versa. The reason I say 85 is because knowing the history of the Mets, I decided to look back and look at the St. Louis Cardinals. With the Pirates, I started around 88 to watch them. Why? Because there was not a lot of TV stations. They were not that relevant when the Mets were that good. Now that I got that covered, I'm going to try to cover the team. And one thing that I want to say about the team is that these are my favorite players, or what I consider impactful, or the players that I remember as a Cardinal. These might not be your choice or your top players, but these are mine. And then I'm going to explain why on certain players. Since I already know some of them, they might get backlash. I did include a DH, just in case you're waiting for the certain player and he don't make it. For my catcher, I picked Yadier Molina. I've been watching baseball for almost 40 plus years. He covered 19 seasons with the Cardinals. It's hard to put someone else, even though I like Tony Pena as well. For him, not a lot of power, 176 home runs total with the Cardinals. These stats are only Cardinals. And 9-time Gold Glove, 2-time World Series. 9-time Gold Gloves. He's not the one with the most Gold Gloves in here. And that's why I put two hitters that I consider not a lot of power, but they were defensive and I remember them. First base, that's where I'm going to get my backlash. And I'm going to explain why I put this player with only 5 seasons with the Cardinals, Mark McGwire, as the player that I put over the other. I did have a DH, like I said. He only had 220 home runs with the Cardinals. In 98, he led the league with 70 home runs. In the 99, he led it with 65, 147 RBIs as well. Why did I put him over Albert Pujols? It's because, like I said, it's impactful. His rivalry against Sammy Sosa, that home run chase, was so impactful for baseball, for the fans. If you look at the stadium when they were competing for the home run title, you'll understand why I put Mark McGwire over Albert Pujols. I know that PEDs, but at the same time, I feel that, like I said, it was impactful. We could say that Barry Bonds was motivated to do certain things as well. I'm not accusing, allegations, whatever, but his 73 home runs were pushed right after the Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. That's just my own personal opinion. But I feel that the Cardinal, Mark McGwire and Sosa was more impactful than Barry Bonds breaking that record. If you watch, you'll understand it was more impactful. And that's just my own personal opinion. For second base, he played third base most of his career, but he did play second for the Cardinals at one point. Not all the time. And that's 12 seasons, the right-hander Matt Carpenter. He did lead the league in 2013 with 199 hits, and in 2014, 95 bases on balls. Other players that I could have put here were David Freese, impactful for the World Series, or Terry Pendleton that I like, but I remember Terry Pendleton also with the Braves, and I didn't put him with the Braves. Chipper Jones was there. Shortstop, this is where the other Gold Glove I put in there, 15 seasons, switch hitter, and 11-time Gold Glove. His first 11 with the Cardinals. He was an ex-Padre that I had to put him in here, and that's Ozzie Smith. You have to remember Ozzie Smith, beginning of every season doing that backflip. You cannot forget it. And that's why I had to put him. Now for my third base and right field, the Cardinals didn't really have that player that played so long with them. Scott Rowland is my third base, righty, 6 seasons. I know he's a Hall of Famer. 20 plus home runs 3 times. And I could have put Nolan Arenado, we'll say. And like I said, there was Terry Pennell and David Freese. I meant that for not the shortstop, for third base. But yes, Nolan Arenado had all those Gold Gloves with the Rockies. But at the same time, Scott Rowland had 3 of them with the Cardinals. And that's why I had to put Scott Rowland over them 2 and whoever else people pick as a third base. My right field is J.D. Drew, 6 seasons, lefty, only 1 season with 20 plus home runs. It's hard to put someone in there. Matt Holliday played right field. I did not put him in the list. I explained why. He played left field. And also Jim Emmons, he played center field. He did not make the list. I put someone else. Ray Lansford is another outfield that I thought about. But J.D. Drew took it as a right field. Center field, like I mentioned, I did not put Jim Edmonds. Jim Edmonds, great player, Gold Gloves, the whole 9 yards. But for me, and I had to put this player, and that's Willie McGee. 13 seasons, switch hitter, 301 stolen bases. Jim Edmonds had, I don't know how many Gold Gloves, but with the St. Louis Cardinals, Willie McGee had 3. Not only that, in 1985, he was MVP. He also led 8.2 WAR in that same year. And he has 2 batting titles in 1985 and 1990. He had 216 hits in 85 and also led the league with hits. I know we talked about Luis Ariz having back-to-back titles, 3 different teams. When we talk about Willie McGee, he was like one of the only players that got traded and still won the batting title. He got traded from the Cardinals to the Oakland Athletics, but he already had enough at-bats to win the batting title with the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League. My left fielder, I did not put, like I said, Matt Holliday. This is my list. Players that I like, players that I felt that were impactful for the team, and that's Vince Coleman. I know 6 seasons, switch hitter, 549 stolen bases. What makes him impactful? All 6 seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals, he led the league in stolen bases. 3 of those times, 100 or more stolen bases. Now, like I said, 85, 86, 87, but we're going to focus on 85. The Cardinals went to the World Series against the Kansas City Royals. They beat the Mets. Die-hard Mets fan, that's why I looked at the Cardinals. Look at their lineup. There are 3 switch hitters. Ozzie Smith, Willie McGee, and Vince Coleman. Aside of that, they only have 1 power hitter or 20 or more home runs under 30 in that season. And that's Jack Clark. That's how impactful their slap hitting, running, all over you was. Now for my DH, like I said, I did not put him as a first base. I had to put him as my DH. 12 seasons with the Cardinals, righty, and that's Albert Pujols. He was Roy, not only Roy, 2005 to 2010 WAR, 5-time led the league in runs, 2-time home run leader, 2003 average, and in his first 10 seasons, out of the first 11 that he played with the Cardinals, because he played also his final year with the Cardinals, he had a 300 batting average. Now, if you look at this team and you look at the players that I mentioned, this is the way I feel the Cardinal way. If you were great with the Cardinals, even though you left to another team, they'll bring you back. teams that finished their career with the Cardinals were Yadier Molina, Mark McGwire, who was really in Oakland Athletic at the beginning, and Ozzie Smith, who started his career with the Padres. Those three ended their career with the Cardinals. Three of those players were brought back to retire as a Cardinal. That's Mark Carpenter, Willie McGee, and Albert Pujols. That's why I feel that Willie McGee was so impactful that they brought him back. Matt Carpenter, yes, he went to the Yankees and all these teams. They brought him back. Albert Pujols, you can't deny what he did with the Cardinals. They brought him back. And that's why these three players, I felt that they were impactful. The three players that they didn't bring back was Scott Rowland, which I believe ended his career with the Reds. I don't know where J.D. Drew ended his career, but I know he played in Boston. And Vince Coleman, he moved around at the end of his career. The players that I did not include that I liked were Terry Pendleton, Ray Langsford, Jim Edmonds, Todd Zeile, Matt Holliday, David Freese, Jose Oquendo, Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado. Now, for my pitching, their pitching is not that great. 5-man rotation, the starter, I put Adam Wainwright. He had the most years, 18 seasons, righty, 200 wins with the Cardinals, all of them with the Cardinals. He led in innings in 2009 and 2013 with 233 and 241.2 innings. And I had to put him. The number 2 is Chris Carpenter. I believe he started his career with the Blue Jays. 9 seasons, righty, 95 wins with the Cardinals, 44 losses. And he led the league in ERA with a 2.24 in 2009, 17 and 4 in 09. These are his record win and loss. 21 and 5 in 05, 15 and 5 in 04. And he led in 2011 in innings with 237.1. Number 3, this is one of the oldies, just like Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, and Ozzie Smith. This is the last oldie that I had to put, and that's John Tudor. I don't know why I liked him. Maybe because in Topps they made so many cards of him that every time I moved the cards, he was there with a Cardinal uniform. And he's the only lefty pitcher, 5 seasons, the lowest out of all the pitchers that I put. His record with the Cardinals was 62 wins and 26 losses. I thought somebody was knocking in the door. 26 losses. This is his records: 21 and 8 in 05, 13 and 7 in 86, 10 and 2 in 1987. I believe that's 05. Don't quote me. Those were his records. Because I don't believe he pitched in 05 with the Cardinals. But don't quote me. But that's his actual record. 62 and 26 with the Cardinals. Actually, I believe it is, or I'm not sure. He's the other pitcher that they brought back. Like I told you, it's the Cardinal way. If you do go with them, they'll let you end your career with that team. And there's 2 pitchers that they did that with. And that's Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn, 7 years, righty. Once again, he left the Cardinals. He came back and retired as a Cardinal. Him and John Tudor. The other 2, Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright, they ended their career as a Cardinal throughout their final years of playing. Adam Wainwright, like I said, his whole career. But Lance Lynn, significant 18 and 7 record in 2012, 15 and 10 and 13 and 12. Those were the other records that had not 13 and 12, I mean 15 and 10 in 2013 and 2014. The only player that they didn't bring back because he's still playing and I had to put in is righty, 7 years, Michael Wacha, 17 and 7 record in 2015, and in 2018, 8 and 2. Like I said, they don't have a lot of pitchers that were that great as a Cardinal. Carlos Martinez, you could say. Alex Reyes, only 1 season probably. But they don't really have all these pitchers that play. Maybe other pitchers, like I froze right now, but those are the pitchers. That's my 5-man rotation. Now for the closer, I'm a little bit biased. I'm a Mets fan. I had his poster with Paul Wilson and I forgot the other guy, but he's Jason Issenwerhausen. Played 7 seasons with the Cardinals, righty, 217 saves. He led in 2004 with 47 saves. The other 2 pitchers that I thought about, but they were not that great, was Matt Morris and Todd Worrell. And I'm going to cover the lineup again. This is how my lineup would look like with these players. First base will be Willie McGee, switch hitter. Stolen bases, I need the stolen bases. Then I need a contact hitter, and that will be Willie McGee, another switch hitter. And then I have to put my 2 power bats with Mark McGwire and Albert Pujols. Following that, Matt Carpenter, Scott Rowland, and then Jerry Drew. And then what I told you, the 2 Gold Gloves, not a lot of pop. Yadier Molina with Ozzie Smith being my 9th hitter. Pitching wise, this is where I want to put Chris Carpenter number 1. Adam Wainwright could be number 2. 3 is John Tudor, Lance Lynn, and then Michael Wacha. And that's all I got. That's my Cardinal team. The next team that I'm thinking of putting, I have to think of a team that was competitive at one point, and I said, you know what? I remember that team. And if I do the Nationals, should I do the Expos together? I'm thinking of that because the Expos were great. But I'm going to try to cover the Dodgers next. I might get backlash also on that one, on who I put on certain positions. Like I said, I like watching old games, new games, and sometimes the old games, they didn't have a lot of pop, but you still have to put certain players because they were impactful for that team. And thank you for watching. Hope you like my video. Give it a thumbs up. I only have 4 subscribers. Make it 5, hopefully. Thank you, and thank you for watching.